free software seems pretty good as is at the moment. So.
Okay.
Oh, why am I missing a camera input? Huh. That's weird. Stream should be going again.
Okay. Actually, not open.
I'm sorry?
I need to not open it in the iPad. Put it in YouTube.
Yeah, by the way, if you want to, like, right now the easiest thing I can think of is you could stream to Discord and then I can pick that up and stream it into the YouTube channel if you wanted to show off whatever you're doing build-wise.
Well, I've been posting a few pictures here and there.
Right. I just meant for the live stream.
Says the stream is starting soon.
Really? Should be.
To,
you must be way behind.
Nope, I just had to scroll or scrub.
Gotcha.
It's one of those. Oh, I touched the screen.
So just for giggles, I'm heating the bed right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell it to go to 90. And we can watch and see how big of a separation we get between the bed and the thermal lug, or the silicone pad in the thermal lug.
So yeah, I ordered acknowledged my shipping.
Something was acknowledged about shipping?
So I ordered after you left last night. Fit bed, and Volvo has a bed with a bimetallic.
Right. I remember you talking to Josh about that.
Yeah, I went ahead and ordered one.
So right now the bed is at 61 and the thermal lug is showing 32.
I got my.
Kind of cutting in and out a bit.
It's probably because I'm streaming full screen YouTube.
All right, the bed is at 82 and the thermal lug is at 46. So I guess we're 85, 48.
Weird.
It's not weird, it's just that's how long it takes the heat to travel through there. So we hit about 35 degrees of separation, heating up to 90 degrees.
Okay.
So That can be our kind of a waypoint, I guess. It'd be interesting to see what the Canovos can do, or will do.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a little bit more even. I'll let that thermally settle for a minute. I think what I've decided I'm going to do here, I have the docs reprinted, but I can't get the springs to stay in. I don't know why. They stayed in fine before, so I'm not sure what changed. Something must have got tweaked in the model, because there's definitely a lot more space in there than there should be.
Did you change printing inside out, outside to inside?
No, I didn't do anything like that. I'm thinking I must have broke something inside the because I had it narrowed down, like I had a clearance for the spring, and then I had it narrowed down to try to grab the spring at the bottom, and I think somehow that narrowing down got, I don't know, vanished somehow.
Okay.
I'm not sure how or why, but it just doesn't seem to tighten down. So instead of scrapping the print, I think I'm just going to drill into it and put a 3mm set screw in there.
Okay.
Sounds like the most reasonable. I already put in the heated inserts and everything. I'm thinking I might just make that a thing, though, instead of trying to maneuver it so it's just at the right depth by friction, and then you've also got to contend with the fact that it's so yeah, if you're just trying to do a friction fit, and then the spring might not go, it might be very difficult to place the spring at the exact depth you want, right?
Yeah. So I've got my reassembly put together now.
You got what assembly put together?
My Z's all put together. I've got my tool lock in place.
Nice.
I've got I'm running, what I'm running to do is running sheathing now for the sheathing for the control lines coming off the carriage. And because I don't have half inch, I'm running each of them in a separate, in its own tube. Which is probably overkill. And I'll flip a label on these once I get them. So what you gonna do tonight?
Well, tonight I think I want to change out the docks, fix up the tool algorithms, because it'd be nice to have my new docks in there. I just want to drill it with embed a set screw. I have some 2.8 millimeter drill bits, which probably isn't as much meat as I would like, but it's really just to prevent the spring from falling out. It's not like it needs to like lock down on it hardcore or something.
You could just use a dab of hot glue.
Suppose that would work. Partially did want the springs to be removable if you wanted to disassemble it for some reason. And overpowering the hot glue might stretch the spring out.
There is that.
But it is a decent idea, though. Let me contemplate it for a minute. Look at my son. I finally get to use a hammer my wife bought me. She got a hammer with a nice engraved thing on the handle.
Okay.
And I've never really had any need to use it. Yeah. Maybe I'll just try the hot glue route. Still use the hammer anyway, though.
Because hammer. Stop. Defense time.
But I put in the new docks. Obviously adjust the tool pick position so that I can actually, pick. And then I've got some plates that I want to put on the open side here where the acrylic's supposed to go to strengthen up the frame a little bit. Maybe it won't do anything, maybe it will, I don't know. But I don't see it hurting. So. While the hot glue heats up, I'll try putting. While the hot glue heats up, I'll try putting one of these plates on here. Wish this Loctite was a little less runny. Makes it very difficult to control. Yeah, I kind of wish that Josh would have used some maybe 40/20 in some locations.
Yeah. I think his wire lengths are a little short.
Yeah, I ended up having to extend something, I don't remember what, but it depends on how you want to route it. If you want to route it like you want to route it, or if you want to route it like he routes it. Not saying either one is right or wrong, but I feel like his might be cutting corners a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
or just being really short.
But I kind of like the way I did it, though, with a lot of the wires, is I just cut them a little long, and then I put the connectors on them once I figured out how long I wanted them to be.
Oh, I didn't put any connectors on, but I cut them a bit. don't have it cleaned up yet, but
Nice. Did you turn it by hand and see that it moves around and stuff?
I'm sorry, what? I couldn't. You were breaking up.
I said, did you turn it back and forth by hand a bit to see that the lock was locking?
Yes, I can rotate the lock back and forth by hand. Notice that. That was really weird. You were echo, 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 echo.
Huh. Yeah, I heard
Sorry.
some sort of static in my headset. Wasn't sure what that was about.
Okay.
Probably related.
Next. I should know what my next steps are. Crossbow and stuff like that. Have companies been selling Jubilee kits? This is not a commercial product.
Well, you can't blame people who have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. No, I don't. It just.
I think some people wander in here not realizing that this is not a product.
Oh. Wow, it's 11.
Already? Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's annoying. I feel like I barely started doing anything.
Well, you didn't start until 10:30.
Yeah, Zach. My schedule is always highly dependent on whatever he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
If he goes to bed late, I start late. Oh my gosh. I literally just had the... Oh, there it is. I'd swear I'd lose my hands or arms if they weren't attached.
Yeah, I guess.
I had the Allen wrench sitting on my leg. and I still couldn't find it.
Come here. You a big orange left dragon. Aren't you a big orange left dragon? You gonna follow the conquer? You gonna follow it? Okay, I'm having a real hard time getting GitHub keeps recycling.
Really hard time doing what?
Getting the 4x because the page won't, or if I start it, only partially left.
That's odd.
Okay, now we're these are the 1, 2 blocks being up against rail. Oh, hey. So this is where we're squaring the squaring rail against the
Yeah, basically what we came up with back when I was doing it was to tighten down one side, as center as possible, and then the other side use the carriage thing to do the aligning.
Well, I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to use my alignment guide and just gently snug up the Y rail.
I still think it'd be wise to do only one side, but you can try it either way you.
This is going to tell me if I've got parallel, if my extrusions are. And by gently snugging them up, I'm going to have to go back and tighten them. No binding and no binding at all. Completely.
Do you have the carriage blocks bolted down or no?
No.
Well, that doesn't count then.
No, I'll have them bolted down. I'll have them down here.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah,
Well, it tells
I thought we wrote down these steps somewhere, but yeah, you have to. Let's see. It was something along the lines of, I think, get one rail nice and perpendicular, and then use a 1, 2, 3 block to clamp the X rail to the Y rail so that they're perpendicular to each other. Tighten down the X rail, and then the last step was to tighten the last Y rail, I think. Something along those lines. But now after tonight, I would like to get back to working on my laser for a little while. So I suppose I could do a live stream and just call it something other than Jubilee something or other.
Okay.
Or if you wanted to, you could stream Jubilee stuff and I would host it or something along those lines. I don't know.
Maybe.
Just a couple options. And I'm putting basically corner brackets on 4 of the extrusions here. And it's going to be the upper and lower extrusion for what's holding the Z rail. And basically like just those 2 rails, or the Z rail one and the back. And then the front I'm just going to leave without one because it's so close to the Z rail that I don't know that I really need to have 6 of them on there. I think the 4 will do. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I think so.
Yeah, they're going on the junctions between the Z extrusions and the Y extrusions. And there's 3 Z extrusions on the side. You know, you got 2 in the front and 1 in the back, right?
Yeah.
So basically I'm only going to put the back in one of the fronts. And I'm choosing the one that's holding the Z axis. I don't know, I almost think it wouldn't be a bad idea to cut space for these in the acrylic panel and just have the acrylic panel be there for show and let these serve as a reinforcement to the frame. In the long run, I think that would provide a much more rigid structure.
Yeah.
And maybe if I decide to get frisky with I don't know, I think an appropriate saw would probably be a don't possess one. What is it? It has the really thin blade and kind of like the teardrop kind of shaped platform on it.
Jigsaw?
Jigsaw, is that what it's called? I thought
I
jigsaw was the one you had in your hand.
I mean, that's one.
I know it's a saw I've always wanted, but I've just haven't really invested in yet. Scroll saw. That's what it is, isn't it?
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, because the jigsaw is the handheld one that does a similar job. But the scroll saw lets the blade kind of meander in any direction as your cut changes direction, right?
Yeah.
Where the jigsaw, you actually have to guide the blade's direction instead of the workpiece. So, yeah, you could do a similar job with either, I suppose. But I think it would be potentially easier and cleaner to do it with a scroll saw.
Hello?
Hey there.
How are you?
I'm good. So Hobbit, you're still building Jubilee, right?
I am. I'm just checking out the rail on the crossbar. I just perpendicularized it.
Yeah, I saw the photo you posted. It looked great.
Getting there.
Well, you're the one that mentioned Clipper to me, I think.
I did.
Wondering if anybody's actually running that yet.
Not that I'm aware of. I know people are looking at it. Carried a bit. I tap it. One side to the other.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You break up pretty badly there, Hobbit. You may want to turn the microphone sensitivity up in Discord.
Well, maybe. I'm on my iPad. How's that?
Well, good so
better?
far, but you need to say something more than
Okay, is that better?
so far so good.
Okay, so my my rails crosswise these are the LVO rails. They are super sweet, and no binding at all on the rails.
Very nice.
So these are snugged up using my my guides. The biggest catch right now is the spring guide.
Have you tightened the blocks down as well?
Yeah. I just did the 1, 2, 3, tighten the blocks down, parallelized everything.
That was quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, 6 clamps and 2, 1, 2, 3 blocks, and a bunch of screws. I had them snugged up enough, a half turn. I tightened down to touch and then back off a half turn. so it was get them aligned and then just a half a turn on each of the screws. Now, if yeah, I'm putting some weight on it. I'm trying to feel for any binding or grabbing, and nothing.
Very
I
nice.
can feel balls moving through the blocks, but that's about it. You know that feeling?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So, so there's that. What's the next step? All right. Oh, I get to do belts now. Yay.
Oh, nice. I put a picture in there for you. Can you see? Now you can kind of see what I was talking about.
Oh, you put the metal brackets on them.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I honestly think those would probably work as well or better than the inside corners, but that's just me.
Well, I'm using them as a supplement instead of as an alternative.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things I noticed in some of your photos there is that when you guys are building, you build it with short risers
Yes.
between the.
It's for alignment.
Yeah, it keeps a little lower to the table when you're working it, because once you get it up on the upright, or you build, you get the volume and the Z rails in place. I am short, and I need a shorter table.
Okay. Well, I feel stupid. I ordered those 2020s, and now I have to order some shorter ones as well.
Oh, yeah, the 74 millimeter ones are, you use those for the initial rail parallelism, and then you use them when you're doing your upper stuff. So, I've got yeah, so I haven't done anything except tighten stuff up so that the motion system.
Yeah, I know there's some people who are unhappy with buying them, but I think they're worthwhile.
Guess I may have to place another order and then.
Did
Yeah,
you?
some were unhappy with them, didn't realize. They hadn't looked at the instructions before they got unhappy.
Well, is there a reason you didn't buy them?
I didn't know I had to.
They were in the bomb, weren't they?
Nope, they're not.
The 74 millimeter ones are not on the bomb?
They should be. What bomb are you looking at?
202?
On the actual wiki? Or from like H2B or something? Like, where are you at? What country?
US.
Okay. There's people all over the place. I have no idea sometimes. They should be in the bomb. Unless Josh got rid of them for some reason. I don't know why he would do that. Let me look.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I did get him. Huh. Let me double check that. They are at a bomb, you're right.
Okay.
7 times 74 millimeter. So I did order it. I ordered everything that was in it. I guess I just didn't notice that some of them were short, really short.
Yeah, they're for they come in handy for, well, their initial purpose is to align the two frames together. It makes it a lot easier when you have the short extrusions. However, they serve as really good legs during the build as well. So I
Got
would
it.
recommend them for that, if nothing else, as well. So.
Okay, why is this search interface so hard?
Okay. So belts are my next step.
Nice. You're just gonna kind of loosely put them in for now. You don't tighten them down until like towards the end, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this, yeah.
You really
Yeah,
feel like
74
you.
millimeters are on there. Never mind.
All right, that's good. You had me worried there for a minute.
Yeah, I'm just slowly working my way through the BOM and ordering everything that's on it without, trying to just spend $1,500 in one go.
Well,
Tempting, but
All right. So I have two different sets of belts here.
two different sets of belts. Make sure you have Gates belts.
But they're not gates.
Okay. Yeah, you should have 50 meters of gate. What? Yeah, I think it was 50 or 50 feet of Gates belt.
5 meters of gates belt?
I forget what the bomb was. I could have swore it was 50 feet. Was it 5 meters?
15 feet.
15 feet? I swear I remember spending more money than that on belt.
Well, it's, yeah.
Now I gotta go look at my Phyllis Schroeder order. Yeah, I ordered 50 feet of Gates belt.
Okay then. Well, we'll see how far off I am.
Now I'm wondering why I did that if that wasn't in the bomb. Huh. Maybe it was down to me reading it wrong. Because Gates belt is sold in 100 millimeter links on E3D, but it's sold in, I think, 1 foot links, if I remember right, on Phyllis Schroeder. Or no, it's in 100 millimeter. Okay, okay. I ordered 50 100 millimeter links of it. That's what I did. It wasn't feet. My bad.
Got it.
So that should be 5 meters. Yeah, okay. You're right. I'm crazy. I remembered 50 from somewhere. I guess I rounded up a little bit to 50 instead of 46 or whatever it was.
It's a thing. Right?
Hmm. Oh, too warm in here.
Too warm.
Yeah, I had the vent open. Usually I have it closed in here. Yeah, hot glue is not a great idea.
Okay.
It is getting, apparently someone got brushed on the side of the hole, which is creating a bit of an obstruction. I'll update the model for set screws. Unless you think people would be highly against that for some reason.
Nope. One belt. I think I almost cut it too short.
Yeah, doesn't that make you a bit nervous? It's like, this is too expensive to waste.
Yeah. And when I say almost too short, I'm talking, it says 4 to 5 teeth per carriage. There are 4 teeth in each carriage. No! Oh well. That was me dropping the spool of belt, which is now completely unraveled itself.
Oh well, it's going to be unraveled soon anyway. Did you see the video that Kevin put up earlier today?
No. Sorry.
He posted a little video of his air pump valve thing.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah, I saw that.
There we go. I think it's perfect. It holds at about maybe 4 millimeters off the extruded aluminum instead of, I don't know, 15 millimeters or so.
Okay, cool.
And then eventually that'll allow me, like I have new shorter wipers that I can install.
Vipers? Like snakes?
Wipers, as in like window wipers.
Windshield vipers? He said vipers. I heard it.
You ever see Reboot?
I love Reboot.
Me too. I heard at one point that they were going to make a new one, but I don't think that ever transpired.
Nah, it never happened.
I would love to see a new Reboot. Reboot, you know?
The reboot?
I really loved that show.
And this one I cut too long by 5 feet.
By what?
I cut this one too long by 5 feet.
Oh, teeth. I'm sure I didn't hear that right, but I swear you said 5 feet.
Oh, no. Teeth. Alright. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to tension the belts until it's quieter. I do have the Gates app.
Yeah, it works, but I would like to come up with something better. I find it a bit frustrating.
Okay. Well, shit.
What happened?
Had a apparently I didn't have the belt snug down enough in the clamp, So
Ah.
top,
Gotcha.
so that was a thing. And of course it was below them. I think I have enough extra felt to make another set. I'll make another one if I broke it.
Be surprised if you broke the belt.
Oh, I don't think I broke the belt. I think if I broke the connector or something.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on tonight, but my Duet web interface is not being very quick to respond.
50.1 hertz.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said 50.1 hertz.
Hey guys, Dan was joining.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, is there a video feed anywhere, or are we just audio?
I do have a video feed going, but it's not particularly interesting at the moment.
Okay.
But if
Hey,
you,
it doesn't matter.
yeah, if you scroll up about 3 messages, you can see the new or the latest link.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just changed out my docs, and I'm trying to update my tool changing macros, but for some reason I'm not getting very good signal. Like right now I can't even connect to the Duet at all for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I like your Wi-Fi connection signal.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my computer's on Wi-Fi just fine, obviously. I don't know why the printer isn't.
I'm going to stop for a couple of minutes. I'm doing my belt light. Give me a minute to do that.
Sure.
Well, I broke the pen out of my BL Touch earlier this evening, so I'm down for a couple of days.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they come with 2 spares, and I've managed to, I haven't had this thing this long, and have a nice box in the cabinet of spare parts, and when I get something, I usually label it in a bag, drop it in there, and I've managed to lose the spares. So.
Oh, no.
Is the BL Touch not high enough in the carriage so that the pin is protected?
Well, normally it is, but I was playing around with offsets, and I managed to do several things at once, kind of a perfect storm. I got the carriage jammed against the I0, it was at about X 200. So it's on the far side, so to speak, of the single post that holds the bed of the 3 posts. And then I also ran the bed up before I emergency stopped it with the bed, ran its way all the way up to the point that it jammed at the very physical top, which would be Z0 or even Z negative numbers. And with the machine in that configuration and the probe extended, which I thought was perfect, I very carefully said, okay, to get myself out of this hole, the first thing I need to do is reset the machine, do the command alive move without homing, and get the thing away from the Y0 so that when it crosses over that single tower threaded rod of the thing, it won't touch, yada, yada, yada. Well, so what I really should have done was a Z25 or something. It's the very first move, then backed away from Y, then started homing things, etc. And so, long story short, the pen was sticking out. I traversed the edge of the bed, and the edge of the bed snapped off. I jammed it in the thing. In my development efforts, I abused the hell out of my machine because I set up automated commands that change definitions, and I get it wrong. I get a plus where I should have a minus, and I cram things into things all the time. And I've probably bent that pen, I don't know, I've bent it half a dozen times and just bent it back. So I'll give him credit for 3 times. But I finally whacked it so hard it snapped off. In fact, the whole reason I crammed it was I added something to CamD today that I think was maybe helpful here and there. Added a flag called bid only. And if you fire up CamD with that flag, it opens the video window and doesn't do anything else. It just sits there and gives you the video window. And if you press enter in the text window, it'll switch back and forth between a crosshair and circle recognizing. But if you want to look around your machine and measure things and maybe figure out how far it is from this to that, you can open that window, jog around, put the crosshair on something, note the XY, move somewhere else, do some very simple math, and now you know your probe is offset from your this by X amount. And I don't really have fantastic use cases for it, but since we have a camera, why not make it where it can be used for anything?
Yeah.
I was messing around with my probe offsets, and of course I put them in with the plus and minus signs backwards, which is why I crammed it in.
Gotcha.
Anyway, there's that bid only thing out there from the camera. If they can think of any reason to use it, it's there.
Talking about Z probes, I'm gonna try using
So what are you working on tonight? You said.
I replaced the docks so that I have regained about 15 millimeters of my workspace. So
Nice.
yeah, and then go ahead.
Oh, well, you're just kind of recalibrating things.
Yeah, I'm just about finished, and then I was going to try some sort of multicolor print. I haven't decided if I would try a cat or a benchy or something else.
Cool.
Go with the cat. Everybody.
For reasons of just, I guess, because I'm a contrary person, etc. I'm in the anti-benchy crowd. There is zero justification for this. There is no logic. There is no reasonableness whatsoever. But I have never printed a benchy, and I never will.
I always thought they were kind of dumb to print too, but I don't know. So at some point, apparently, I jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that they've got lots of curves and everything, and they're a pretty good test article, but I don't know. I guess it's like the old Monty Python sketch about you're just being contrary. No, I won't. Yes, you are. No, I won't.
I mean, the best is
It's just contrariness. There's no logic.
I mean, the AutoCAD 3D printer test is also a good one. The one for Kickstarters. So AutoCAD has a test model that they rate Kickstarter 3D printers on.
Is that the one that they have the curves in, the angles?
Curves and angles. It's got pins in it that are printed with clearances in holes. And, can they be removed with that? Do they fall free on when the job is done? Do they need tools to be removed? Things of that
And
nature.
this is which one?
It's an AutoCAD Kickstarter 3D printer torture test.
Oh, cool.
Sort of thing. So they built this model out, and then 3D printers during Kickstarters, they're used to rate the printer.
Got it.
You found it?
Hey, so talking about 3D sensors, has anyone looked at or tried using like a precision piezo sensor on a Jubilee?
I think there are some folks who have tried and set things on fire. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I've go ahead.
No, I don't know. I was reading about it. It looks like
I bought one at some point,
yeah.
and I'm trying to remember what I tried it on. And I hope nobody's on the phone that's involved in the company that makes them, because I really never could make it work with any reliability. And
That's kind of what I've read.
And I was a little disappointed because as much as this is a Jubilee forum hearing, so I don't talk about this very much, I am an absolute Delta Cossel fanatic. I believe they're a far superior design to anything that uses an XY. And the one caveat that I will give you is that in a home printer, or our level, I don't know whether to call us home or hobbyist or prosumer or whatever, it is, I believe, my personal belief, is it is essential that the printers self-calibrate before every print a Delta, a Cossel. And that they are so sensitive to Z, and the homing switches at the top of the towers and the mechanical switches and repeatability and yada yada. I believe it's just essential that they probe the bed in about a handful of points at the start of every job. Therefore, really your only choice is a smart effector from Github. Smart effector works with any controller board. You don't have to be using a Github. It obviously works well. But I was kind of seeking, because of I'd love to recommend Deltas to more people. I'd love to have them own them and have them be trouble-free and have a positive experience with them. And I was looking for something where you could take a $200 Anycubic plus Delta, Anycossel Linear Plus, which is a fairly decent little kit.
Yeah.
And put something on it that made it auto-calibrate. They give you a probe that you have to put it on and off magnetically, and you have to calibrate the probe itself, and it's better than nothing, but you get the drift of what I'm saying. I was looking for something to make it cheaper, better, faster, always probable, etc. And I messed with those PCOs, and I never could get them to the point that I'd recommend them.
Yeah, there's God, I can't think.
The part of the day where your mind derails.
Yeah. All right. Well, my belts are done. I would get to like 52.5, 52.3 on both,
Yeah.
and make just a tiny little adjustment, and then it's like 48.
Yeah.
It's like, screw it. They're both within a half. The two belts are within a half a hertz of each other. They sound like the same note when I pluck them. Now, if I bounce them both at the same time, they don't last long. There's not enough sustain for a beat frequency to come.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. I would really like a better method to do it, because
I mean, that's it. The thing is, as long as you're plucking in the same place, and I did it at the front of the machine because that's the same length of belt for both of them. If you pluck on the side, you're going to get different lengths, and they're going to have different harmonics.
Yeah, but I just don't like the system in general. I would like something a little bit more.
The gate. I mean, that's how gates. That's the manufacturers.
Well, yes and no. They make that app, but on machines that actually have to have belt tension set, you use a belt tensioner.
Yeah.
And if you look on Thingiverse, there are belt tension measuring things that you can print.
Oh yeah, and I mean, yeah.
But having said all that, I have two questions really. When you set it with that 60 hertz thing, and I realize this is a judgment word, it has no definition, it has no meaning. Don't they seem awfully darn tight to you?
They're supposed to be 50, I thought.
50, yeah.
50, yeah.
They don't seem particularly tight. I mean, they've got the amount of deflection on the same. They have the same amount of deflection on the same with the amount of force. I don't have a belt tension measure, but
yeah.
I have a calibrated finger.
Yeah.
Look, I have a calibrated elbow when I'm doing torque wrench work.
Right.
I mean, I'm probably out of calibration at the moment, but.
No, I hear you. I used to have calibrated fingers for temperatures of batteries. I flew some HRC, and people would say, "Oh, that's bullshit," and then they'd get their infrared meter, and I'd be within 5 degrees. You know?
Oh.
I'm sure I'm out of calibration now.
Yeah, I was a chemist, and I had to do water temperatures where I had a half a degree variance on water temperature.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could, you know, there's a sample line coming off of a generator or steam generator, and it's, you know, the sample line's coming off, and I'm adjusting the flow rate because it's going through a cooler in order to get the temperature down to where we can do the sample drop.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to when you're doing it every 4 hours for months at a time, you get to the point where you know where to adjust the thing, and then it's like touch. Okay, now I can take a sample and stick a thermometer in it.
Yeah, I mean, humans are amazing. If we practice almost anything we do enough, we get pretty darn good at it.
Yeah. Dead nuts on. All right, so I've got my belts. I've got my frame assembled. I've got my black and white feet. Reminds me of our cookies. It comes from running out of filament halfway through the print.
Yeah, I hear you.
And not having any more of the black because the only other spool of black I had was on another printer in the middle of a print job. So I grabbed the ivory right next to it. Like what's the next step? I don't even know what I think I'm going to have to start building up the electronics at this point.
So you should have your entire frame built first.
What's that?
So you should have your frame put together before you build the electronics. I think
you misunderstand where I'm at.
You don't have the Z put together, do you?
You see, I've been busy today.
Yeah, but you were doing the core XY stuff, which comes before the Z axis.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
You used to.
Ta-da!
Are you saying that's not carved in stone?
Well, I mean, if you were following the flow of the manual, but
I see your picture.
Yeah. I didn't finish cleaning the area before I took it.
Yeah, it looks 20 times better than mine.
So what you're saying is that now you need a steps tool?
Yeah, pretty much. But that's why I was having some.
see, if you'd have done all the core XY stuff before you put the whole frame together, you wouldn't have needed a steps tool.
I didn't need a steps tool for that. When you have 6 clamps and 2 X blocks, or 1, 2, 3 blocks, and an Allen wrench, my perpendicularity is done. By the way, I didn't need to make any adjustments after using the alignment clips.
Oh, that was my other question about belts, is do you find that you can actually run completely even tension and the crossbar stay square?
Yeah, because what I do is I adjust them half a screw at a time. I bring them up to snug, and then I do half a turn on each of them at a time.
As far as I can tell, my machine is square. I mean, I've checked a bunch of things, but I've never, I've always, when I tighten the belts for everything, I've always had to tweak them a tiny bit to get the crossbar square.
I mean, sure, I'm probably going to have to, like, as far as like the adjustments go and everything, get where the positioning is. But worst case, I can loosen up the screw, the gear. The pulley on the motor to freewheel things if I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. The picture has got black currently at.
I
so
see your. Yeah, I see your cages on the photo you just posted. Those look nice.
Would you like I can do a kind of a close up.
Oh no. If you click on it and then click the open original, it's really good.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more gap in the. I probably could have made my spacer plates like 6 millimeters instead of 7.
Yeah.
But the tops of the lead screw are right at the top of the brackets.
Yeah, those look good.
And I'm probably going to have to open up the upper brackets. I was actually thinking of taking them off entirely because I've got a fixed frame block at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I don't think I really need them. But the screws are also pretty straight. So we'll see if there's any binding.
Yeah. Those are 9 millimeter belts.
9 millimeter belts.
Okay. I still haven't done that retrofit on my machine. I started with 6, and
yeah, these are the original design. So
yeah.
I haven't upgraded. If I do go to when I get the aluminum crossbar or the aluminum corner plates,
yeah,
I will probably, depending on the, probably get the gates pulleys.
So you're saying these are not?
No,
okay, they just looked tall in the pictures.
It's oriented.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because it's really hard to tell certain things in pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's the way I'm running, and I just haven't gotten all the little bits and pieces, the spacers and the stuff to switch over to 9s. I've actually got the belts.
Okay.
I have them for other projects, but part of it is I just haven't spent the time to get into the meticulous detail for all the little adjustments, and I know other people have worked it out, but I just need to find the things they've worked out and get it all ordered and get it all together, and it hadn't seemed that important.
Yeah, I'm finding that I probably need a couple of tiny little washers or spacers, um, because the Delrin plate on one side, looking at it on the right side from the front, the Delrin plate on the crossbar is a little bit pulled down
Yeah,
in that back corner by just a smidge.
yeah.
And so I was gonna stick a wash, see if I can stick a little bit of a shim.
I have a bunch of shims in that are not in the plans.
Yeah,
They,
we'll see how it goes once I power it up and get some motion on it.
yeah, you know, I have shims above and below various things and here and there. And part of it is to make the stack tall enough, like you're talking about, so the Delrin plates don't tilt. And part of it is just looking at it to be sure everything's as in line as possible and things like that.
I had forgotten just how hard it is to move a Core XY carriage when the motors are engaged.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if I do something wrong, it's hard to move. It's like, oh, right, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to get like a benchmark on it so that people would know, you know, how hard to pull it. Remember how I got the fish scale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you have the motors on it, I'd be interested to know how hard it is to pull.
Oh, it's probably hard.
Yeah. That needle rolls right over to hard and maybe even to hard plus.
Yeah. I'm gonna need to do something with these. So I've got 3 sensor lines coming off of the carriage, and I haven't cleaned up the wiring yet. Mostly I've got enough tie wraps on them just to hold it in place.
Yeah.
It's like, don't look, they're not ready yet. Kind of thing. But I ran each of them in their own sheet because I don't have half-inch nylon braid. I've got quarter-inch nylon braid, which is great for 2 wires, not 4.
Yeah. What did you do for the Z switch on the bottom of the things? Just go per plan?
I went for a plan initially. I'm gonna go ahead and print a BL Touch carriage.
Okay.
And I don't know whose carriage. You got one, and then somebody else has got one.
Yeah, my snap in, snap out thing has worked really well. I was a little concerned if it would over time get loose or anything, but when I broke that pin and I took it apart and snapped it out, I had to use an enormous amount of force to snap it out. Yet in the past, as I mentioned, I'm constantly cramming my machine into things. As I develop all these scripts, I have in fact crammed the bed into it and had it pop it out with no damage when it was just a linear push. So I am kind of liking that, and so I'll post that. So I've put it on the Discord before, I know, but I'm going to post it somewhere as well.
Yeah, I've got it. It in my stack. It's in my to be printed stack.
Yeah.
And I mean, and one of the things I'm hoping, one of the first multi-material prints once I get things dialed in a little bit, is I'm going to print a new front carriage plate.
Yeah.
With conductive filament.
I have a thought.
Uh-oh.
What if we created a GitHub, for community Jubilee mods, and just gave basically, I don't know, the main contributors all accesses to push to it, and just collect all the mods in one location.
Yeah, we could do that.
Or I guess we could just link. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with GitHub wikis. Do they take attachments?
Well, there is a. I don't know, to be honest.
Because okay, because the regular.
Oh, wait a minute. They doesn't take attachments because only Josh can do it. Like
when I edit the wiki, it just edits, and that's something else I've wondered is there.
And you can edit the text, but if you were to try to say drop anything into the repository for pictures.
Right. I'm not saying the repository. I'm saying the wiki itself.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think the wiki does. Basically, from the wiki, you would link to something in the repository, right? Like the images that we have.
Yeah. So you can drop it in your own GitHub and then create a link to it.
That might work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that just makes the most sense, is just to link our stuff in the wiki.
Yeah, I think I've got my wires a little too on the short side, or at least maybe, I don't know. The duet sits pretty high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Short for what?
On the default layout, it does.
Okay, I've got the default layout. I was afraid my cables are too short. So they're probably long enough.
Well, you don't have the default layout. You're using Duet 3, aren't you?
Yeah, but the Duet 3 goes in the same spot as Duet 2.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a back panel that supports the Duet 3 and expansions.
Right.
I don't know. I've already got my panels, so hopefully they're good enough. Otherwise...
Yeah, you have the same panels I do because we got them from the same source.
That's all right. I kept talking to Josh about, instead of having layouts on different layouts on the panel, you put in DIN rails. You just put DIN rails in the back of them. You mount everything on DIN rail. Because you can print a DIN rail adapter, without even thinking about it, right? I need a DIN rail I need an adapter for this piece of gear.
Well, I think this cat's going to take a small eternity to print.
They do take a while.
So, definitely got continuity on that front plate when the tool is locked up, and you go about a 30-degree rotation. Without a tool, with just a plate on there, about maybe 30 degrees, maybe less on the lock, and you break contact. So, and that's as much as you relax and you lose power too. So I think we're going to get a good indicator of whether the tool is locked up or not. Okay, so rails are done. Build plate. I ordered the Canovo heater.
How much was it?
So yesterday I ordered it. It's the 300 watt, I guess. 300
watt.
Or 750. I don't remember.
I thought it was 750 was what was.
So it's no 300 by 300, 750, 120 volt with the bimetallic switch in it. And adding the bimetallic switch thermostat built in at 150 degrees or 150 C was $3 extra.
So what did it cost total?
It was $72.99, and I didn't want to wait for the shipping I paid extra for the shipping, but that's you don't normally have to pay anything for shipping. It's free. So $72.99 is that for the Canovo heater.
Part of me almost wants to get the Canovo, but man, it would be a pain to.
Just get a second bed.
That's what I would end up having to do. That's what I came to the conclusion.
That's why it sits on those kinematics.
Yeah. I'm not investing in that anytime soon. No, my current one works good enough. And I have thermal cutoffs built in, so.
I suppose at this point I could build out my bed I could put my bed together with the heater on it. Just get it up here. Although
Man,
I'm at the electronics panel at this point.
The internal geometry of this cat is definitely not optimized for printing.
Well, the internal geometry of the CAD is, well, who wants to look at the inside?
I
Well,
think
no.
that's sort of.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say I think that's sort of the point. It's a torture test.
Yeah, it's just like millions of these tiny little moves, which is the printer can't get up to any kind of speed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've also got a Big Tree Tech GTR that I could set up and we could set up and test as well. Or I just build another Jubilee. I just built the second Jubilee and put the GTR on it. I've got almost enough parts at this point. So, what am I going to do with this for I need space? No, I'll just rotate it 90 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying, oh my gosh, this CAD is going to take so long printing like this.
Sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how comfortable I am.
So I got a big piece of silicone sponge rubber too. To go underneath the bed heater.
Instead of cork. Would perform better than cork, I take it?
Well, the thing is I got it all. Okay, so I bought all this stuff back in January. As I was getting all the stuff together. Here's the star. I did a package for CNC. So I've got extra twist locks. I've got like the bed sensors and all that stuff. So, and when they shipped it to, when CNC shipped me the bed, they did a really nice packaging job. They did one of the expanding foam bags that go inside. It drops in the box, smack the bag, put the parts in it, let it expand, smack another one, stick it over the top, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have absolutely no complaints whatsoever on the packaging. So I have an extension wire. I have the CNC, the SMC, the Mr. Block, and the lug, because what they did is they had a lug before there was a lug. So on the bed, they've got a section where the Mr. gets bolted down on the edge. So they don't have a thermistor in the middle of the bed plate. So, hey, this is a question maybe Daniel can help with.
Yeah.
So Eric's got a thermistor built into his heater, or his heater thing, right?
Okay.
But he's also got he's also got a second at the edge of the bed. He's getting pretty significant temperature variation.
Yeah.
Between
You mean
the edge and the center.
Between the two or over time?
So,
between the two.
well, so once they get up to heat, like, and they hit the steady state, like, I'm good. The problem is that I actually like, so if I tell the bed to heat to 90, oh, excuse me, they there's actually about a 35 to 40 degree temperature difference between what I'm reading on the pad and what the thermal lug is. So if you were to run off of just the thermal lug, and let's say you wanted to heat to 100, 110 for ABS, right?
Yeah.
I could see that the center could actually potentially get up to 150,
Yeah.
easily before the edge would reach temperature, which could then damage magnets and pop, thermal cutoffs and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I guess if you're just doing PLA, it's fine, but I'd be really worried to use, like, so I'm going off of the one built into Canova or into the heat
Right,
pad,
the center one. Yeah.
and then I just look at the other one to see that it's up to heat before I start a print.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously seeing physical reality there, but to your point, the actual version that says this is the thermistor for this heater should probably point at the middle one, because that is going to be the one that needs the most limitations, so to speak. And then it just takes time for that heat to spread, and your other temperature shows you that. And like you said, you can eyeball it as the human operator and say, I'm going to wait for it. Or you could run, I mean, we had some discussions about this because the plates on these things are relatively thick and massive aluminum and everything that, and I was trying to remember, I was one of the people that was having some symptom. And basically, if you heated the bed up and waited about 8 to 10 minutes and then started a print, it cured it, and it was for the heat to spread through everything. So your second temperature thing lets you see that and lets you measure it better than just waiting. But I think you're doing the right thing, in my opinion, by head loop driving the temperature controller off the center one.
So here is what my ideal world would look like if I could get there, and that would be to do the PID loop off of the thermal lug, but use the bed sensor in the middle as a traffic cop, saying like, okay, we're not going to allow this to go over this particular temperature,
Right.
and that would allow the bed to heat much quicker than doing it the way I'm doing it.
Right. So this was the duet question that I wanted to throw out at you.
Yeah, and I tried to post this on the Duet forum, and basically all I really got out of it was you can't really do it that way, but you could basically throw in something where it would be like, okay, we're going to wait until this is up to heat before it starts. Basically making sure the thermal lug is at the proper temperature, but there's no way to that, at least I never got a good answer on how to do it on the Duet forum about basically what I was saying, PIDing off of the thermal lug and then using the other one as a traffic cop.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is, can't you have a virtual heater?
Well, that's part of what I was trying to think, but I don't know how you would set that up. And that was the question I posed on the Duet forum, and nobody could really answer that question.
I had virtual heaters in the past, primarily because the tool required a heater required being associated with the tool. And so to be able to measure things like the CPU temperature. So that's really kind of a different thing that they were doing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm thinking.
Well, my concept is that you have a virtual heater assigned to the corner or the thermal lug, right? And then you have the actual heater assigned to its built-in thermistor. But both heaters receive a whatever the M140 or the M104 command is. The one that says wait, heat to this temperature and then wait until you get there, until it stabilizes. And so you'd have both of them, but you have them as an and, not an or kind of statement, right? So
yeah, if we can figure out how to define them, then waiting on them, it's no problem. That's fairly straightforward. So keep going.
And then, so what I envision would be happening is that the center one's going to come up to the temperature that you described or that you defined, and then it's gonna stay there, right? It's going to come up and it's going to stay there, and then we're going to get our soak to the edge, and however long it takes for that temperature on the edge to stabilize based on the temperature that's going into the center. And because the bed isn't at equilibrium, it's going to cycle more frequently than it would be if it were at equilibrium, right? I mean, that's just what I've got in my thinking. So we'll see.
So if we define the heater, let's ignore the center for just a second, and we'll come right back to it. If we define a heater that heats that bed and whose sensor is the thermal lug, and let's just say that we PID tune that heater, the PID tuning is going to learn that that heater has a very long time constant.
Yeah.
And it's going to set the parameters so that in an effort not to overshoot, that it does things far in advance, so to speak, and there are ways to, the nice thing about PID is that with the proper parameters, it can, in fact, deal with 100 million gallon tank of oil that has a small heater in it and one thermal sensor, and it can figure out, I have to run this for 3 days, and I have to cut it off 5 days before it hits the target temperature.
Oh yeah.
PID will do that, but the constants would be tuned such that it has a very long time constant. Reintroduce the center heater, so the edge heater is trying to heat up the bed, and it's going to run it, and it's going to watch it ramping up to the temperature, and it's going to cut it early enough that it can then cycle it without significant overshoot. A well-tuned PID will slightly overshoot so that it gets there faster. You sort of have the logical dilemma of that PID now wants to turn the heater off, but the central PID might want to turn it on, or vice versa.
Well, what I'm saying is that the other one has a virtual heater.
Right.
So cycling the virtual heater, which doesn't have any impact on the bed.
Okay, so it's just a sensor. The virtual heater is not doing anything.
Right, but you can give it, because it's a heater with a sensor associated with it, right? You can give it a command.
Right, and you can wait on it.
And then it's going to wait, but you give it a really long thermal. Basically, for that particular one, you don't use a thermal runaway protection.
Right.
Because
yeah.
it's not going to run away, or it's a really long constant on it.
So I'm wondering if, let's see here, look at the GCode that waits on heaters. Because one of the little subtleties of that GCode is you can specify heaters, but if you don't specify any of them, it looks at all of them.
Oh, okay.
Which is sort of interesting. let's see, which one is that? That's okay. That's where is it?
Now I need to find find a camera.
That
I think
extruder feature.
I think my company actually has cameras.
Yeah,
I could,
that'd be nice.
well, that sort of thing. If I can order a couple of C270s. Because otherwise I have to take one apart out of another deployment.
Okay, M190 weight for bed temperature.
Yeah.
To reach target temp. Bed index.
Now we have to go look at the CBCNT.
So tell it.
Together. Because there was a drawing there for the bed that they made.
So I'm curious, you said you wanted the PID to control it by the thermal load. I'm sort of curious why.
Oh,
is there.
Well.
So it could basically allow the bed to get hotter, or the heater to get hotter, to heat the bed much quicker, essentially. So let's say you had a limit on there, say that the center could get it to 120 or something like that, but
Right.
it would not be allowed to go any hotter.
Okay.
Then you tell it to heat up, and so the center might get a lot hotter, and then it auto-tunes so that it figures out, what kind of overshoot you're going to have, and so that it doesn't overshoot so far in the future. But that way, if you're heating to especially like 100 degrees or 110, then you don't have to worry about the center getting over 120.
Got it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. So I'm looking at M190, weight per bed temperature. Bed index. Now, what you were saying about defining two heaters to this, to that, I think it may be saying the same thing in different words, but I think we end up defining two beds.
Got it. Okay.
That may be saying the same thing. So let's see, I think it's in a 950 or something like that that defines the. I do, and I'm assuming reprep 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with anything else.
Yeah, okay. So we can create.
Oh,
308 is okay, so we've got it. We know for a fact we're going to have two M308s no matter what else we have. We have one for each of the two
Okay.
sensors. That's easy. And to find the actual output pin with an M950, I believe there would only be one of those. And that's the one that ultimately goes to H0, the SSR, or however you're wired up. Doesn't matter what the physical wiring is, but that's the one that he's going to raise and lower to actually truly turn the heater element off and on the bed. So we have two 308s, one 950, and then there's one other thing that you have for a bed. Let me look at. It's medium.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to bed here in just a minute.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking that. Where, what, who? Too many tabs. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay.
I think I grasped the question very thoroughly. I've looked at some of the pieces of it, and maybe if I sleep on it, something will come, and or do some experiments.
Okay.
But I do see what you're getting at, and why, and how it would be good to have it work that way.
I mean, it's going to be a slower soak by doing that, because you're not going to overshoot your temperature.
Right. So you're going to run that as high as you can without damage to get to that target. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I'll think about it.
Okay. Because like if you had a step change, right? So you run the center a little bit hotter.
Right.
As your edge comes, then you drop the center and you wait until temperature is equal to.
Right.
And again, like I said, I could be completely, but I think we're in the ballpark here.
Oh, in our earlier discussion, one other real quick thing. There is already a thing